Wanker started waking up. Seeing his hands and feet were duct tape, and had that ball gag in his mouth for him not to scream, I beckoned. Wakey, wakey, Wanker. It's time to play, I told him. He saw me in my ghost Grim Reaper form, and he got all scared, thinking that I was really the Grim Reaper. Good. I mean, that's how I wanted him to feel. What you've been doing is a crime. And punishment must be settled, I said, while unzipping my backpack. And remember my friend that I mentioned? Well, then let me borrow some of their toys. Inside was a blue toy shaped of a male's private part. A lollipop shaped like the same thing, and pinchers for the chest area. But this isn't for kinkiness, no. It's for brutality. You know, my young cousin liked seeing what these young girls did. She always would get me to watch it with her every time when I came over to watch her when her parents were gone to work. I never understood why these girls did what they did. At first, I thought it was an all-girls committee. Until we found out that it was run by a disgusting, old, perverted piece of shit. I saw my cousin crying. She showed me what you did to that innocent little girl that was just in here. You took away her innocence! You piece of shit! I yelled at him while grabbing him by his collar. You know, in my timeline, that poor innocent girl you just embarrassed and humiliated almost took her own life because of you. If it wasn't for her family stopping her, God only would know what would have happened. I told him this. Now thinking back to it, if she might have done the same thing Chester Bennington did, if I hadn't saved him. It would have been a heartbreaker to everyone, and this piece of shit would have just walked, as if nothing happened. You have no idea. No idea how long I've been waiting for this moment. 5 years I've been waiting. Thanks to a good brother of mine. He made this possible. Wanker now started to say something with a gag in his mouth. Oh, okay, now you have something to say. All right, spit it out, I said, removing his gag. You son of a bitch. God's gonna send you to hell for this. Do you have any idea who I am? I then gagged his mouth again, walking a bit away towards the window, while tying a small rope to the railing. God, huh? God's gonna send me to hell, huh? Well, I then ran back to him. As he got scared, I then grabbed his upper cheeks. God is sitting this one out. I pushed him back. Oh, and as for hell, I've already been there. As soon as Satan saw a glimpse of me, he spat, "Be back out here," I said to him. We're gonna have some fun now. And at that moment, I had a good punishment song to play while I was doing this. Iris, do me a favor. Play Hell Broke Loose by Tom Waits, please. Playing, Iris said. If you haven't heard it before, I'd recommend it. As that was playing, I got out a Sharpie. And yeah, I drew some choice drawings on his bald, spotted head. I then pulled out one of the punishment toys. It was the lollipop. Took out my sickle, cut off his belt, and then his pants. He started to squeal and started to cry. I then said sinisterly, "Why are you crying? I haven't even started to fuck you up yet, and plus, you liked taking off that girl's underwear. What changed?" Of course, under my mask, I smiled maniacally. Now, of course, I didn't lick the lollipop. I went to the sink to wet it up. I toyed with him. Uh-oh, looks like the train's going into the tunnel. And as soon as he heard that, he started to panic. At this point, you can probably guess where it went, and hearing him squeal was very pleasant. Uh-oh. Someone made a bit of a mess, I said sinisterly. Wanker started to say something again. I removed the gag, but now it wasn't a threat anymore. He was pleading. Please, please, please stop. Stop, for the love of God. Find it in your heart. Please stop. I have a family. Please. I gagged his mouth. No. You should have thought about that before you started this mess. And don't you dare use that as your plea. I mean, come the fuck on. I yanked out the lollipop and I removed the gag. I told him to suck it. Started to gag on it, tears streaming down his face. I put the ball gag back in his mouth. I then took out the chest pinchers, using my sickle to cut off his shirt. Let me tell you, he wasn't fat, nor he was skinny. But I grabbed the pinchers and... yeah, they both turned a bloodish red. He squealed to the sound of the punishment. Wanker looked at now as if he was going to faint. Oh, no, come on. Stay with me. We're just getting started, I said sinisterly as I splashed water on his face. He woke up as if this one was going to be a horrible nightmare. Unlucky for him, it wasn't. I then grabbed the rubber blue part, and it made its way down south. Wanker was pleading and begging God. Oh, you're begging for God for help. Well, too bad. I mean, all you have is the devil, I yelled. And about the toy, well, you can probably use your imagination. I yanked it out, as well as hearing him cry and scream with the gag still in his mouth. Your sins are what brought you here, dickface, I said, dragging his worthless body to the bathroom mirror. That mirror was full size. Keyword was, because what I did next, I enjoyed so much. Look at yourself, Wanker. Look! Do you see what I see? A pathetic lowlife who in his entire life was having little girls do whatever ridiculous things you wanted on the show. And having them as your own pawn. Looking up and down their legs, seeing their chest area, you sick fucking pig. Well, no more. I finished as I removed the gag from his mouth. What I did next was the icing on everything. I did what Frank Castle did to Billy Russo's face on glass. I slid his face on the glass, except it went side to side on both of his upper cheeks. And hearing him scream in pain as the glass got stuck to his face, that's how much pain he had caused to the little one. His scream was my pleasure of punishment, and he lost his voice from screaming, with blood already dripping down. As I kept sliding his face, I then threw him to the ground. Hold on, sweetheart. We're almost done. It's now time for the grand finale. I turned him around, took out my K-bar, and I stabbed his spine. Now, I've learned that if you stab the spine, they become instantly paralyzed, right? And now, this was his reminder of what had unfolded here. Wanker had the face of penetration as I yanked out the knife, and I kicked it to see if it had any nerve on his legs. Nothing. Excellent. I got close to his cheeks, pressing the leftover glass on him. Now you'll spend the rest of your miserable, pathetic life in a wheelchair. You goddamn waste of skin, I said as I grabbed the blue part again, and it was going back to where the moon doesn't shine. The lollipop in his mouth, and as I removed the gag ball, my task was complete. Also, the video was finished sending. Well, that was until... Police! Open the door or we will force it down, came about. Right on cue, I said. Iris, grab up the map to make my exit as we planned. Also, cue the song, The End Has Come by Ben Moody. The song then played. See you in your nightmares, Wanker, I told him, as I prepared my gear, and grabbing the tablet, I ran to the window. At the same time, the police entered the room, and I had already jumped as I held onto the rope that I had tied down earlier, to swing to the second level and crashing through the window. I landed, and I walked to the door. I saw a bunch of teens, I think doing Twister, and was scared when they saw me crashing in. I left through the door, and I saw through the map and made my way. However, police were already scattered on that level, not how I planned. "Hold it! Freeze! Turn around!" the cop shouted. I turned, and his facial expression was as if he saw the devil himself. Just then, a different cleaning lady appeared. Perfect timing. The cop told her to move, but I told her to stay still. As soon as I got cleared behind cover, the cop started to open fire when the lady moved. I also fired back, and it was a showdown. I began reloading. "Ghost, don't kill them, they're just doing their job," Iris said on my ear. "Don't worry, I'm not trying to kill them. They don't need their kneecaps to breathe," I said as I finished reloading and fired back. I then saw the window, and I needed to head and make a run for it. I went through the window, and below me was the pool, and of course, thankfully, I landed there. I then rose up from the water, and I think, from my point of view, there was an 18-year-old boy swimming, because he looked old enough to be an adult, and was standing and staring right at me. "What's the matter, kid? You look like you've seen a ghost," I said, sinisterly joking. Just then I heard a girl calling him. "Carter! Oh my god, Carter, get out of the water!" And he swam for it to the left side. I went up the stairs on the right. I looked back at the window I jumped off from, and from where I stood, it was high. I ran for it. I continued running where a crowd was. I then got the time watch and pressed the button for my final ride back. And I made it to my present time. Eagle Eye was surprised to see me again. "Holy shit, Ghost! What happened? You're all drenched in water!" I told him what went down, and he was surprised from my story. I then told that he should fix it up more, because I had some more ideas to change other people's fates. He agreed. And as hours went by, I was back at my house, typing up the news of the people's lives that I'd changed. I was surprised by what I had read. My interference had changed time in a good way. Paul Gray finally became a dad, and Slipknot was still on tour. Chester Bennington still leads Linkin Park to another hit album, and also is joining the tour with Slipknot. Christina Grimmie still sings in her career, got married, and is expecting a child soon. And finally, as for Young One, well, she went and became a survivor. She's now an influencer to those who went through the same thing. I'm proud of her. She's creating videos with her friend A. I could see them as a dynamic duo. And as for Wanker, well, he was sentenced 50 years to life in prison. And from what I'm reading, he kept having nightmares about a ghost haunting his dreams. Well, good. He's now stuck in a wheelchair. And things really changed for the greater good alongside that. Eagle Eye is making adjustments for the time travel to extend it more, and I let him get to that. I mean, what a ride it was. Who knows, maybe if I die a gruesome death, maybe someone who I may inspired can follow my steps. Just might change my fate. My phone rang. And just then, I got a call from Barney, telling me that we had a job to do. Turns out to be an island that we had a rescue operation. I was excited to know more. I mean, this one had to be something indeed.